Hey guys, so we're doing 8.4 and 8.5. Why? Because 8.4 and 8.5 are very similar. They're just solving multi-step, multi-step problems. So in this one, what we're actually going to be doing is multiplying mixed fractions with whole numbers. So in order to do that, you need to use the skills that we had worked on in the previous lessons. One of them is changing this into an improper fraction and then multiplying and then changing it back into a mixed fraction. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. It's actually not that hard as long as you kind of remember the steps. So Jael is doing a karate routine. He jump kicks and makes 1 1/4 of a turn. If he does 3 kicks, how many turns will he make? So if we actually use a couple of markers to kind of highlight the important parts, he's doing this. He jumps and he does 1 1/4 of a turn. And if he does 3 kicks, he's turning 3 times. How many will he make? How many turns will he make if he does 3 kicks? So in order to do that, we have to multiply. So the first step is multiplication up here. So we have 3 times 1/4, but you cannot multiply a whole number by a mixed fraction. That's a whole number with a fraction. So we have to take this, the 1 1/4, and we need to turn it into an improper fraction. And to do that, all we have to do is follow the steps. You start with the 4. Whoops, you can't see. You start with the 4 and you multiply it by 1. Remember, we put the x at the bottom, the plus at the top. 4 times 1 is 4. Then you add 1 and it makes 5. So bottom times whole number plus top equals the 5. And you put that over 4 because the denominator never changes. Now we can actually multiply. So now we take that 3 and we bring it down. And now we're going to multiply it by the 5/4 that we had just gotten. So 3 times the 5/4, remember we only multiply the whole number times the numerator. Numerator is on the top. 3 times 5 is 15. Keep the 4 because you never change it. You just move it over and we get 15/4. But nobody speaks like that. Nobody says they did 15/4 turns, 15/4 of a turn. It doesn't make any sense. So what we're now going to do is we're going to change it into a whole number and a fraction, or maybe even just a whole number. So let's find out. What I like to do, and I know a lot of you guys like this too, is I like to write out 15/1/4 because the number at the top tells us how many 1/4 there are. So there's 15. So I draw up 15/1/4. And remember what we had said. I'm going to do my best to hold this up. Remember what we had said. The 4 at the bottom tells you how many pieces you need in order to make a whole. So the 4 tells you need 4 1/4 to make a whole piece of pie, a whole pie. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes a whole, and I put the 1 at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes a whole. I put the 1 at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes a whole. I put the 1 at the bottom. And 1, 2, 3 is what's left over. I can't make a 4, so that's 3/4. And then I'm going to add them together. So 1 plus 1 is 2, plus another one is 3, which I put down here. That's the wholes that we have. And then 3/4 we can't add to a whole, so we just put 3 3/4. So Jael, when he does 3 1 1/4 turns, he's actually doing 3 3/4 total. All right? So when we're solving this, all we're actually doing is step 1, changing the fraction with a whole number, the mixed fraction into, we're changing that into an improper fraction. The mixed number into an improper fraction. So we made it to 15/4, right? And then from there, we just multiply by however many times that person is doing it. So in his case, he's doing it 3, and we get, oh, I'm sorry, this isn't supposed to be 15. 5/4, and we get 15 over 4, and then you just have to change that into a mixed number. Easy peasy. So we can do one more. I'll post a second video of the second one that I'm going to do, and then I'm going to upload 2 worksheets for you guys to do, and they're going to be this type of problem and word problems. But what we just did was a word problem, so you guys should be pretty set for that. And if you're not sure how to change this into this right here, or change this into this up at the top, go back to one of the previous videos because I explained that, and I'm going to do it again in the next video that I post.